Johnny live from Las Vegas.
Welcome to a new and exciting episode of eXp Live from Las Vegas.
Woo!
We are live right now at Level 9 Studios, and I'm here with my amazing co-host and real celebrity, Pam Junkie. And I'm John Amitucci, by the way.
And that's a shout out to Stephen Mandel because he coined that phrase, his real celebrity.
His real celebrity.
Nice to meet you guys. And look, I mean, we're stepping up our game. I don't know if you remember episode 8, I think it was, when these weren't real.
Yeah, that was pretty much
actually real now.
That was episode 1 through 12, actually. But yeah, these are plugged in. So believe it or not, we're stepping up our game. We're going pro, right?
Yeah,
we're taking
absolutely.
It seriously.
Hey, listen,
we
have a lot to say.
We do.
We have a lot to say. There's so much going on in Las Vegas right now, right?
Where do we start? I guess we should start from the beginning, right?
All bets are on Vegas.
Yeah, for sure. Our town, it's like I tell people all the time that, you know, they question Vegas because they're thinking, oh, it's 2008. Or they're thinking we're just a town where you go to gamble, get drunk, go home. This ain't your daddy's Vegas. You know, we are.
This isn't the mob's Vegas anymore.
Unfortunately, to a degree. But yeah, we're just continuing to grow so rapidly, evolving. And I think that we are the most exciting city in the country right now, hands down.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, let's jump into it. What are the reasons? You know, obviously we learned a lot going through COVID, right?
For sure.
Big props to LVGEA because they're constantly looking at growing our city and diversifying our economy. You know,
recruiting businesses to come into town.
Absolutely. So, you know, we were really kind of in the throes of that during this shutdown.
Yeah.
But then we also learned a lot and came out of the shutdown, I think, even stronger. If you look at our gaming revenue right now, we are doing better than pre-COVID.
Record revenue. Every month over month, year over year. Yeah, we're booming. Every degenerate in America and in the world is dying to get to Las Vegas and have some fun.
Obama.
Yeah.
Oops. Remember when he said, don't blow your money in Vegas on a convention?
Yeah, too late.
Great. Yeah, and also, to your point, hotel vacancy rates, better than pre-COVID.
Yep.
You know, so the thing is that, you know, we're not your one-trick pony anymore.
Exactly.
We're not just Las Vegas Boulevard. We've expanded beyond this. So let's talk about that a little bit. Okay. What else do we have to bring to the table besides the Strip? Let's start in the boundaries.
Go a little bit of background. Yeah, so I mean, it's just happening all over town, right? We could probably do a podcast for every specific area in town where there's so much action going on. You know, the Northwest right now, Centennial Hills area is booming with new residential homes. It's become the new Summerlin. Summerlin is, for those who don't know, it's a really popular area for people to move to from out of state. So we've got, I'm just trying to go down from the 215 from the Northwest.
I know, and
right?
like, don't forget when you're up in the Northwest sector, you know, we built that VA hospital years and years ago. However, we had to take advantage of some land and opportunity that was on the outskirts of town. It's hard for our veterans to get there. Yeah. It's hard for our veterans to actually get the service that they need. It's an incredible facility. But now you're seeing all this medical pop up around there. Why? Because the city is incentivizing builders and developers to go in and beef up this area and to help our veterans, right? The amount of, in fact, our next CCIM luncheon, little plug for CCIM Luncheon Southern Nevada chapter, we're going to be diving right into that topic specifically. So we're going to get to hear from a lot of developers who are going in and building in that area to build up the medical around our veterans. And that's not the only place in town where we can talk about medical, right?
Which medical is exploding all over town. I mean, look, let's be honest, right? If we're going to just call it what it is, one of the knocks on Las Vegas over the years has been...
Here's the question. Where do you go if you get sick in Las Vegas?
Caesar's Palace. Where else? No, I'm only teasing.
The airport.
You go to the airport, right?
You go to the airport
and
because
you
get
to
out
New
of
York
Vegas.
or California.
That used to be the sentiment.
Yeah.
And it was true. I mean, unfortunately, we did not bring the medical. But thanks to, you know, people like Shawnee Coleman and to our government entities in economic growth and development who've taken the medical district. And, you know, we
have multiple medical districts right now. We no longer have a medical district.
But we have a sanctified medical district in an opportunity zone where developers are getting compensated through tax credits and other various avenues to actually build this medical out. So now we have our first medical school. Remember, I remember my little brother wanted to be a doctor. And so he graduated high school and he was like, you know, 4.2 GPA. He had to go to Reno to go to medical school because we didn't offer medical school in Las Vegas.
Right.
But the crazy thing is Reno didn't have any hospitals. So the kids would go to Reno to go to medical school, and then they would have to come to Vegas
and practice it,
to do their, what's it called, like their internship.
Yeah, the internship.
What's that called?
It's medical residency.
Residency. Yeah. I knew it started with an R. So there was like this fight between the North and the South and the medical students and the kids and all of that. So we have our first medical school.
And we're attracting medical students. We're attracting, and that's a huge thing, right? Because, and that's another thing that LVGA and we're all doing as a city, is that we're attracting people to want to start and build a practice here. Because the fact of the matter is that most doctors end up specializing and opening up their practice right near where they ended up going to medical school. So you hit the nail right in the head. As we increase the quality.
You forget that I have so much history in this town. And I'm only giggling because when I used to own my boutique firm, so I owned a boutique firm with an incredible partner for like 15 years. Our office sat in Alta Drive just east of Rancho, right? So if you look at the city's overall vision for the city of Las Vegas's overall vision for the community, my office wasn't even there.
Wow.
I was going to be part of some 3-4 story medical building right there on Alta because we're right in the cusp of the medical district, right? And so I don't know if you remember this, but when we opened our first medical school, a very wealthy family in town, they build casinos all over the place. They decided to fund tuition for the first 60 medical students.
Oh, wow.
Do you remember that?
I do.
It was fascinating,
It's been a
right?
while, yeah.
And the reason why they wanted to do that, and one of the requirements was that each student had to have some type of ties to Las Vegas or Nevada in general for the exact reason you said, because they didn't want to fund them through school, fund their tuition, and then have them go open a practice somewhere else, right?
Sort of defeats the purpose.
Yeah. And so we were just so involved in the medical district because we were right in the thick of it where geography, our location was. So I brought in 16 students that were gifted the funds to kind of do like a little roundtable and interview them all. The truth of the matter is a lot of them had no intention of actually opening a practice in Las Vegas.
Wow.
But we did end up retaining a lot of them, right? I think they were younger.
See, it was that mentality. Let me go to Vegas. Let me try and win the World Series of Poker or winning, 10 or 20 grand playing the table games and then fly back home and spend my money where I live.
Exactly, right? But no, we are grooming medical professionals. We also have a nursing school. Did you know that?
No, that I wasn't aware of.
We have a nursing school. We have like world-class children's trauma center in Las Vegas. I think it was about 5 years ago, I went to the 10-year anniversary of the Lou Ruvo Medical Center, which is, again, world-class for head traumas, and I don't even know what they do.
Wow.
That Lou Ruvo, that crazy building down on Alta, just when you're entering downtown.
Yeah.
That's all, the design
It's like
is all wavy and
Art Deco-ish
crazy.
type of building. Yeah, it is an interesting building. It's pretty cool, yeah.
We have some world-class medical in Las Vegas, right? So, okay, now you can leave the Northwest, and we dissected that whole medical.
Let's head down south on the 215 after we just told everybody that we're finally becoming a place where, you can find good physicians and you can find good hospitals.
Good healthcare.
And good healthcare.
Absolutely.
And then as we start swinging down to 215, I mean, let's just take a look at Summerlin, right? Summerlin has been absolutely booming. Most people, when they move to Las Vegas, if they're moving especially from California, everybody's telling them, hey, you got to either move to Summerlin or move to Henderson. Seems to be the two places on everybody's
Summerlin or
lips,
Green
right?
Valley.
Oh, Green Valley, right. Yeah.
They're like townships, if you will. Summerlin's not even a township. It's not recognized as a township. How many villages are in Summerlin now?
Oh, my God. It's got to be, I think, like 20? 25 or something
I think
that,
there's
right?
23.
23, okay.
The last time I counted, right?
Yeah.
And so Howard Hughes was incredible in their forward thinking with this master plan community because each village has its own personality and style.
And probably its own golf course. I mean, Summerlin has, I believe, a dozen world-class golf courses just in that little square radius.
Hey, listen, I used to live old school Summerlin around Town Square and Village Center, and they always had, I lived on a golf course, and they always had the PGA there. They would start setting up for the PGA. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you guys hear that out there? That was my belly.
That was Pam's belly.
It's breakfast time.
I got an apple if you want, but you probably had a pound and a half of ground turkey. That
Not
was
yet.
not yet.
Not
Okay.
yet. That's why.
Yeah, you'd never know.
It was
if
leg
Pam,
day at the gym this morning, and I
okay.
have not had my protein yet.
You'd never know it by looking at her, but Pam has been working as a professional in real estate now for about 35 years. She is a fitness fanatic and is in absolute great shape. And
I just turned 54.
Just turned 54,
Saturday.
believe it or not. Happy birthday again.
Thank you.
Wow, can't believe that.
And you
54.
bought me the best birthday present ever, and I will use it.
Are you going to implement it? You're going to put it to use?
Absolutely.
All right, awesome.
Anyway, enough about me and back to Summerlin.
Yeah.
So these villages were very forward thinking when they created them. So they just took down, pieces of land. And like, I think we started with the trails, right? So
Yeah.
the trails was great because you've got all these walking trails through there. And there's a very definite feel and design to each one of these trails.
It's like a little small town, Summerlin. It really is,
100%. I mean, it's hundreds of acres that they're consuming right now. And we go all the way from the northwest to the southwest
south, good.
on the west end of town. East and west of the 215.
Right.
It's incredible. We were the number one master plan community, I think, like 4 or 5 years in the running.
And again, this year, we were top 5 in the country.
In the top 5.
In the top 5.
Yeah.
We're consistently ranking in the top 5.
Right.
Downtown Summerlin plays a big part of that, right? Downtown, that whole area is just a little triangle, right? A little Bermuda Triangle, because you can get lost.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is you never have to leave that little, if you choose to live and work in Summerlin, you can spend your whole life in that little triangle.
Oh, for sure.
Downtown Summerlin. Stations Casino, my home away from home, by the way. You've got
And if you don't follow John on Facebook, please do. If for nothing else from Where is John? Is that what it's called?
Where Am I?
Where Am I?
I actually put up a new episode yesterday. You didn't see it, though. When you do, you're going to really appreciate it, I can promise you.
All I can tell you is that it's fantastic. It's a quick read, fun pictures, and you will look forward to it. And I feel like it should be happening every week. I miss it.
I can only go to Macy's and Dillard's only so much so often, and that's where I usually film that content.
So anyway, just a quick tip. Follow
you.
John on Facebook, if for nothing else, for that.
I appreciate that. And then you've got Las Vegas Aviators Stadium. We've got.
Oh, well, let's not even get into sports yet, right?
Okay. I was just going in that neighborhood. But we have the Aviator Stadium. I won't go into the sports aspect of it. But we've got Aviator Stadium. We've got the Knights hockey practice facility over there. We've got absolutely gorgeous new apartments that are being built and that are already up there. I mean, it's just amazing how you can never have to leave that specific area. And then we're getting a lot of celebrities that are moving into town, right? Recently, Mark Wahlberg, very successful entrepreneur and actor, just moved into town. He's a full-time resident of Summerlin.
Right.
And he's all over social media too. He loves Vegas.
Because he was all over social media. You could literally be downtown on Fremont Street, and chances were you were going to run into Marky Mark pouring drinks downtown, because this was when he was trying to get the legislation passed for the studio.
Right.
They're looking for he and Howard Hughes are partnering to build a production studio, film studio of behemoth proportions. However, they're looking for tax dollars. They're looking for county credits. And the county is just not so keen on paying people to come to Vegas anymore, because according to a very good friend of mine that works in the county, we don't have to pay people to be here anymore.
It's not like
I'm
that,
not saying we're unfriendly bringing businesses here. However, it's got to work, right? So how did they finally get the A's bill passed? They made the A's promise some give back to our community.
Right.
Minimum number of job employment, minimum number of, hiring only Las Vegas locals for the development versus out-of-towners. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it works for our community. There's going to be a reciprocal benefit. There will be a cash influx to our citizens in their pockets directly, right? So I'm not saying that we're not going to get that film studio bill passed. And it could go for special legislation. However, I don't know. But I secretly think Marky Mark was out there trying to be in the public eye. Yeah. Because where has he been since legislature closed?
Where?
Nowhere. He ain't pouring drinks on Fremont.
No, but he is hanging out in like the Albertsons and Smiths, and I saw a couple
No,
of videos.
it's great. I love Marky Mark. Are
he's
you
awesome.
kidding me? I've had
awesome.
a crush on him for all the years.
Well, I don't have a crush on him, but he's a great businessman. He's a hell of an actor. That's for sure. And
He's
you
a
know
businessman.
Yeah.
He's an actor. He's a Catholic. You know,
Yeah,
I'm just saying
yeah.
he's a stand-up guy.
He
You know what I
is,
mean?
no
I love the
question.
fact a couple of the movies that I've seen recently. One was a story about a father. It was a true story that he played a father in the role of, and nobody would fund this film. And he wanted the story told, so he funded
And he
it
got it done,
himself.
yeah.
He played the lead role, and it was great. So he's just a stand-up guy. But let's talk about that. Let's talk about the increase in wealth that's entering Las
Oh,
Vegas.
yeah. Yeah, it used to be, you know, Vegas was always a place where people went because it was reasonable to live here, expense-wise, right? You could buy a home in a great neighborhood, a great area for a couple $100,000. We had no state tax.
Yeah.
You know, generally you had to work in the hospitality industry to get a job. But yeah, you're right. It's been a whole, post-COVID, this town has completely changed. And it's not only a matter of attracting wealth and attracting wealthy people and business owners, but it's a matter of attracting the right ones, and they're coming here for the right reasons. They're coming here to build. They're making this their home. You know, it's not, Las Vegas had a transient, you know, reputation for a long time. It's not like that anymore. People are coming here to live here and to be part of the community and to grow the community. They're not coming here just for a weekend, flying back to LA, and then just using us as, you know, like a port of call type
Right.
of thing.
And about that, we're getting a little bit better at tracking the numbers now, because I think we used to say and I don't even know when this was. I think this might have been like, 10, 15 years ago, but we would get 3,300 people in Las Vegas a month. How did we track those people? Typically at the DMV,
Right.
Going to get a license. But we all know people don't just like move to Vegas and the first thing they do is
Get their
go get a new license.
I waited about a year. I waited 11
Exactly.
months and 30 days to get mine. So.
And then, we had a hard time tracking kids that grow up here, because we're finally to the point where kids are growing up here.
Right.
Right? Kids are growing up here, graduating school here, getting their driver's license here, starting families here, buying houses here. So, but we would lose a lot of people every month. That was hard to track as
Right.
well, because a lot of people came to Vegas thinking that it was the land of opportunity.
They hit bus. They didn't hit 3.7s, and then went.
Yeah, so a lot of people didn't make it either, but we're getting better. What the latest stat, I believe it came out front by LVGEA, is that we are retaining right now 135 people a day.
Oh wow!
135 people a day, and a gentleman who I admire more than anybody in Las Vegas for his real estate prowess would be Dan Doherty of Colliers, and he was on stage recently, and he talked about this.
Mm-hmm.
He talked about the level of wealth that's entering Las Vegas. We are getting the elite of the wealthy making Las Vegas their home,
Right.
and building business and community
Exactly.
here,
Yeah.
like Mark Wahlberg. Who's the guy that played one of the Supermans? His name starts with an S.
Oh, Dean Cain,
Dean. Okay, S is nowhere in
which
there.
starts with a D and a C. But it's scary that I knew who you were talking
You knew
about,
exactly
even though
who
you
was
said his
talking
name
about.
started with an S.
Right.
I was going to say Clark Kent, but no, it was Dean Cain.
I mean, Dean Cain moved here, and we're talking about people that will spend like $10 million for a plot of land.
Yeah.
And then they're building homes there, and they're bringing business and economy. They're employing people in our town.
Right.
Do you know that the Henderson private airport just laid 18 more acres of runway to support the higher wealthy people that are flying in and out of Las
Wow.
Vegas?
Holy cow!
We didn't have enough runway for the private jets. And they're also forward thinking because, and we can get on this conversation anytime you want to, because I think we're there. It's also to support people that will be coming in town for the Super Bowl. We're hosting the Super Bowl. Formula One is going to be flying down Las Vegas
man.
Boulevard
It's gonna
in
be
how many
crazy.
days?
Right? November 20th, something like that, middle of November.
And Formula One, F1, is the most expensive money-generating sport in the world. And we're going to have a runway down
Think
Las
about
Vegas
that. It's
Boulevard.
what a trip, right? I mean, it reminds me of like the Monte Carlo Grand Prix, right? I mean, you would never. It's what. Look, Monte Carlo is beautiful in and of itself, but it's so cool that we're going to have our own F1 racing over here. As a matter of fact, I was just reading we're just about done, completed with the pavement for the racetrack in town, which is going to make a lot of people driving through town very, very happy. And we're almost done completing the grandstand as well.
Although right now, like you can barely get through a lot of the streets down towards Las Vegas Boulevard because they're preparing for this. But you know what? Hang in there. The amount of money that this is bringing to our town is mind-boggling. The wealth that's coming to Las Vegas.
I can think of 50 other states where cities are in there that they wish they had F1 coming into town. I mean, it's mind-blowing that you think that, you know, if you read the paper, if you watch the news, all you're hearing about is big cities, you know, depressing news, right? Anything across the board, be it crime, cost of living, etc. We're the one city in the United States that, what other city just built a $2.1 billion entertainment center? What other city has a championship hockey team that has a brand spanking new, even though it's a historic franchise?
How many years did it take us to win the Golden Cup?
7 Stanley Cup. You combine the Golden Knights and the Stanley Cup into one little sandwich there.
I know. And I am from Pittsburgh, so I think the first game I ever went to see was when they were playing the Penguins, and I was confused. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was super confused. Yeah. So I wore like a Penguins beanie, and I wore
the Knights jersey,
VGK jersey. I had to represent. Yeah. I mean, when you're from the Burgh, the black and gold just runs in your 100%.
Veins. Big sports town, very loyal sports fan base for sure.
Yeah. However, I mean, so an expansion team. Look how this city embraced them, right?
Yeah, we jumped up a little bit ahead in the sports, but I just wanted to, since we're going down to 215, let's talk about the Southwest. I mean, it has to be spoken about. We can probably do 2 or 3 episodes alone.
Right.
On all the action and activity going on in the Southwest. And nobody knows it better than you, because not only do we work in the Southwest as far as where our office is, but you live in the Southwest as well.
Yeah. Hey, listen, and this is no knock on Summerlin. I never thought that I wouldn't want to live in Summerlin after living in Summerlin. And then kind of like accidentally, we ended up in the Southwest. It wasn't supposed to be permanent. I will never move. The energy, the excitement, it's just everything is right there around you, but you still feel a real sense of community. It is one of our biggest, believe it or not, industrial sectors. New industrial, all over the Southwest. Yeah. Sunset, Post. I mean, you got In-N-Out Burger that just put that huge plant in, and they've got those Mack trucks now where they, drive around and do host parties and stuff like that. They only have a handful of those in the country. Yeah. You've got like BD Development building all kinds of smaller, more consumable industrial. But this, again, is off the cusp of COVID, right?
Yeah.
So what a lot of tenants did, a lot of business owners, they realized they want to be in the driver's seat, right? So during COVID, maybe they weren't able to work things out with their landlord. Maybe they were struggling a little bit. I think a lot of business owners have figured out it's better to own the real estate and have control over it if you're going to operate your business out of it.
100%.
Yeah. And so there's a lot of that type of industrial being built around the Southwest. We've also got a new Stations Casino.
Oh, man, I can't wait. The new Durango Casino, which is opening, I think November 7th is opening day or something like that. It's the beginning of November. Of course we got to go.
Yeah,
matter of fact, I've been accumulating all my stations.
That's
Rumor
amazing.
has it I like to bet the ponies in football occasionally. So I've been accumulating for the past 3 years all of my points from Stations Casino so that I can get in there and stay a couple of nights as soon as Durango opens.
I love it.
Yeah, I got to use my points.
Get the whole entire feel out of the whole thing.
So Durango, we've got so many mixed-use developments that are up and coming. Let's talk about Uncommons for a second.
Let's just talk about mixed use. Yes. Yeah. You've got Uncommons, The Bend, Evora. So what is a mixed-use development? I mean, it's the smartest thing on the planet.
So what's your definition of a mixed-use development for people that may not be familiar with that term?
Well, all those 3 that I just mentioned, they look different. They look a little different. But, I mean, the basic layman's definition of mixed use is you're throwing in a little bit of retail and business. You're throwing in a little living. You're throwing in some office. You're building communities where people can literally live, work, and play.
Right.
I hate that term, but I just said it.
We'll just have to come up with a new one.
Exactly. But they're walkable. They're inviting. They're fun. It's the new way people want to live.
Right.
You know, like we could talk about the office sector all day long because there's so many different facets in the office sector. But the reason why older office is not doing well right now is just because through COVID, we've learned a different way of doing things. We were forced to. And so that's just not an attractive way to bring employees to an office and get productivity out of them, right?
Yeah.
So now we have new office space and design like you see in Uncommons. And
it's beautiful. Who doesn't want to go into the office?
Class A office space that they're paying a absolute premium for, getting pre-leased before they even finalized construction.
We were talking just the other day about DraftKings as a perfect example, right? DraftKings was renting space out of one of the WeWork buildings out here.
Yeah.
And they just took over, I don't know how many tens of thousands of square feet in Uncommons and really just planted a flag over there as the new headquarters in the States.
And just because this is a real estate conversation, I know we're talking about Las Vegas, but you said the WW word, so let's talk about it for a second. You know, Las Vegas isn't office heavy. We're really not. We've never been office heavy. We've never been medical heavy.
Right.
And I get that at national level, macroeconomics, you know, WeWork is in a world of hurt right now. And if they stop making their mortgage payments.
Which, I mean, look, the writing's on the wall. If you've been, not that I want to get into a whole, dysentery on WeWork, but yeah, the business is in trouble. They're going to have to renegotiate.
Well, they own so much real estate.
They own, and plus their landlords, a lot of their landlords have huge notes too, CMS loans.
Of course.
That are going to be coming due as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out with those guys.
Right. But we're hyper local, right? So let's bring it back to Las Vegas. You know, so if they stop paying their mortgage payments and their lease payments, it's going to hurt on a national level. Absolutely. In Las Vegas, what do we got? They've got 100,000 square feet in Town Square. The whole entire third floor, which is their second floor, is 100% vacant. You can find it advertised on CoStar, LoopNet, any of the syndicated sites where DraftKings was. Right. We've got 50,000 square feet in Summerlin. It's 150,000 square feet of Class A office space. If they screw the pooch on Vegas, so to speak, I don't know that it's going to be huge for us. Now, if you're in New York City, and they screw the
different
pooch?
Story. Well, because they
totally different story.
They have a huge, I don't want to say the majority, but they have more office spaces in New York City than any other city in the world.
Correct.
Yeah.
They own buildings, they lease buildings, but yeah, office is just a multi-layered conversation. And, it's not to say that, some of our legacy product in Las Vegas isn't suffering, because it is. However, we adapt, overcome, revitalize.
Yep.
Here we go. All those old office space, they just need to be redeveloped and reimagined.
It's going to be a challenge, right? I mean, between zoning issues and structural issues, I
love the conversation of turning them into apartments. I really do, especially when we have a lack of inventory.
But maybe there's other alternatives, right?
Well, my thing is that actually fruitful? How much does it cost to bring in plumbing and things of that nature in an older building like that?
Plus, you're not going to create jobs. I mean, wouldn't it make more sense to repurpose those buildings and have them to do something other than just be? Look, I get that we need. You know what? Actually, we're not hurting for apartments in town at all. I mean, if you want to move into town, you can find a place. If you want to buy a home, it's a challenge because we have very little inventory on the market right now.
It's only a challenge for a so agent.
Yeah.
A good agent will find you something. And we've got them on the team.
We've got them on the team. We've got, and then we'll talk about that as well. But, why not repurpose them? I thought like a business co-op type of thing might be good for certain of these buildings where you
Some
can literally.
Some of them, you got to get rid of that footprint. The footprint just doesn't work anymore. You know what I mean? But let's get back on the track of sports and everything going on in Las Vegas on Las Vegas Boulevard. So it's old conversation, and we've talked about it before. But you've got Oakview that came in, and they're building on. They've already broken ground, building on Blue Diamond and Las Vegas Boulevard, which I absolutely love because we're just expanding the Strip, right?
Yep.
I think technically the Strip ends right around Mandalay Bay. South Strip ends right around Mandalay Bay.
Yeah.
We're just expanding it, and Oakview is doing a really great job of doing that. They are building a Tim Lewicki. Can't remember. I don't remember if he's Tom or Tim, but we all know, especially as evidenced on this podcast, I am not good at names. He's come out and publicly stated that he's building a professional basketball stadium, the world-class professional basketball stadium. You know what I love about Oakview? They build with their own money.
Mm-hmm.
They don't borrow a penny.
Right.
So when he comes on stage and says, this is what we're doing, he's doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I think he built the last 5 arenas in the nation. Let me rephrase that. We've had 5 arenas, world-class arenas built in the nation, I think in like the last 10 years. He built every one of them.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and he's bringing condotels, he's bringing hotel. It's going to be an incredible facility. And, if we do ever get the Bright Line, the train that's coming in from California, it's going to start at Victorville. It's going to land right behind his property, which is going to be another huge benefit for him. He's not a dummy, right?
No, not at all.
And then you go west or you go northbound. And you've got the new Dream Hotel. Mm-hmm. They had a little 1-2 punch, and then they immediately recovered with their funding. Funding came back through. I think they're fine.
Contractors are getting paid.
Yeah. So, they're doing great. You've got let's talk about the tribe. I was actually involved in one of those transactions.
Let's talk about that. So, let's talk about a major transaction that you and your partner, Frankie Valli, who's also your nephew. That was a huge...
He's a sweetheart.
Handsome,
and he's
a.k.a.
smart.
handsome.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about that, about the White Sands and...
Yeah, so we have tribal monies that's been in Las Vegas for like the past couple years, and they have assembled 725... over 30 acres of land, right? They've assembled over 30 acres of land across the street from the Luxor in Mandalay Bay. Now, it's unknown right now what their development plans are. However, that is a huge assemblage. So whether they develop it or whether they just assembled it to sell as an assemblage, I'm not sure.
And what land did you handle
So
recently,
we had the little sliver called the Old White Sands Hotel.
The Old White Sands Hotel.
The Old White Sands. So I think the White Sands was built in the 50s. And if you came to Vegas, you were going to Fremont Street. You were going downtown. Right? The Strip did not exist. But the White Sands was there, and it was like the first stop in. So, like, I need water, I got to pee, I need a snack, It was the first stop in Las Vegas. Well, this property had been in probate for the last 30 years.
Wow.
Owner died, no will. Family members couldn't figure it out. And then while it was in probate, people passing away, which changed the chain of hierarchy, if you will, for lack of better terms. So finally, Clark County court system just got tired of hearing this case. So they ordered the sale. And we were very successful. That was part of the assemblage that the tribe purchased.
Took 30 years, but the Jungie Group, brokered by eXp Commercial,
was able
to get it done.
We got it. We have other deals in the works on the Strip. I'm just obviously not allowed to talk about those until they come to fruition.
Gotcha.
But there are some major things happening on Las Vegas Boulevard and the Strip, and we're right in the thick of it. So hopefully we'll have good news on a podcast coming soon.
And then let's touch upon sports just for a brief minute here.
Yeah.
Everything that's going on. Holy cow. F1 in November. We've got the Super Bowl, February 2024.
Yeah. Let's talk. What all professional sports teams do
we'll have F1 racing. We've got professional hockey. We've got professional football. We'll soon have a professional baseball team. We have a professional WNBA team. We've got a professional lacrosse team. I believe we've got a professional soccer team.
We have the lights.
We have pickle and chicken, so we're going pro pickleball, but this is the one that's really getting me excited, is that we are, if it hasn't opened yet, it's going to open up any week now. Have you ever seen curling, that Olympic sport curling?
Hell yeah.
We are actually opening up a curling facility out in Las Vegas. It's going to open up within a couple of weeks or so.
Perfect.
So, the hell with football, baseball, we're going to have curling, professional curling, over here in Las Vegas.
I feel your excitement. I do. I feel your excitement.
I bought like 3 brooms over the weekend as soon as I read the news. I just can't wait to get out in the ice,
That's fantastic. Well, and, it's safe to say that we may also have a professional basketball team.
Yeah,
so what's
yeah.
left after that point?
I mean, we've got the 4 majors. Plus, let's not forget we have the UFC in town, right? So we have
the UFC.
we have the best.
Missed the boat when we were talking about the Southwest.
Yeah, true. UFC headquarters.
The UFC headquarters facility is phenomenal.
It's amazing, right? Yeah.
Wow.
And let me tell you, when Dana White started, no city would have him. New York City, my alma mater, they wanted no part.
Oh, we welcome
No part.
We welcome the down and dirties.
So
Let's go.
Aside from
Look what he did to our city.
Oh, it's amazing, man. The guy's another great. He was hopefully Mark Wahlberg can duplicate 50% of what Dana White has been able to accomplish in this town. But just to touch on it, we get heavyweight. Not only have every world boxing championship we have in town, UFC championships. I mean, we're a sports town. It's official.
Well, the one that really pisses me off that nobody gives any credit to,
What's
the
that?
rodeo.
The rodeo. How can we forget the rodeo? Oh my God, the bit. Yeah.
I mean,
wow.
do you know how much money the rodeo brings us every year? And I love the crowd it brings.
Oh, me too. The people are awesome. They're coming to town having fun. They're spending money.
There's nothing better than a sea of cowboy hats in the airport. I mean, they're the best tippers.
Yep.
They're courteous. It's just a really great crowd. And we never give the rodeo, the Professional Bull Riders Association, any of them, the credit that they're due. And maybe it's because they are such a quiet crowd. I'm not sure.
I think maybe that's the way they want it. And South Point Hotel, another tremendous off-strip casino that if you're coming into town, I can't recommend Stations Casino.
You got part ownership in the South Point
well, based on how much money I've gambled there over the years, probably. But the South Point, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that might be, if it's not the largest rodeo, I don't know if you call it a rink, rodeo stadium in the country. Mm-hmm. It's certainly the largest indoor one. So, it's no joke. I mean, and I'm glad you brought it up because nobody pays attention to that, right?
Yeah, and they are just, the wealth that they bring to this city is phenomenal.
They're coming here spending dough, man. They're gambling. They're having fun. They're going out to eat. It's just...
I have a lot of family traditions, a lot of them. Probably too many for my family, but I'm the shenanigans starter, and they just kind of follow up behind me because we're going. One of my very favorite family traditions is Cowboy Christmas. Mm. They rent how many hundreds of thousands of square feet out of the convention center? And it's just a blast. You got bull riders going on upstairs in the convention center.
Oh, wow.
And then you've just got all these wares and everything for sale downstairs. It's a lot of fun. It's one of our traditions.
Cool.
I almost thought we were losing NFR. We did lose NFR one year.
Did we? To who?
Texas, wasn't it?
Okay.
After COVID?
I don't remember.
But they're back.
They're back.
Yeah, we got the contract back.
You can stray, but you always come back.
That's right. You got to come back to Vegas.
I want to talk about, because you had mentioned industrial. And for people who are just tuning in for the first time, they may not be aware, but you and Frankie Valli are... on top of everything that's going on in this town, industrial, you had mentioned the Dohertys, Dan Doherty as well, and the tremendous amount of work that they're doing.
Oh, but nobody can touch what they've done in industrial. These guys are phenomenal.
But let's just talk about a little bit about the industrial market right now.
Well, so here's the deal. Through COVID, again, we changed the way we do things as human beings, and the Amazon effect and buying things online. I got to be honest with you. I went to the store the other night and I was like, why am I even here? Why am I doing this? The lines, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it wasn't even an enjoyable experience for me.
There's a first. Pam did not have an enjoyable experience shopping.
I know.
Oh boy, breaking news.
I know. It was just one of those things that you could just quickly put in the Amazon cart and it shows up at your office the next day. I mean, it was just super simple, right? How we do things has changed. And Las Vegas is a really important hub for so many reasons. This is such a lengthy conversation, but I'll just try to encapsulate it.
Okay.
The very first thing is because that Mexico has finally surpassed China in manufacturing, third month in a row.
Wow. And that's not an aberration. It's a trend.
That is a trend, my friend. Yeah. That is a trend, right? And so because of tariffs, because of labor cost, for all different kinds of reasons, a lot of companies are shipping their manufacturing to Mexico. Try to buy a piece of industrial real estate in Mexico. Good luck. Not going to happen.
Not going to happen. Huh?
That boat sailed.
Right.
That's important because shipping from like Mexico up through the United States into Canada, that route occurs straight through ours truly, Las Vegas. That's the route, you know? So we're key for getting goods through the country, 100%.
Right. We may not have an ocean or a port, but we've got...
You don't have to. No. Talk to Casey Conway, and he'll just blow your mind about how we've adapted to moving goods around in the United States using our rivers, using trains. You know, we're killing it.
And the I-15.
We're doing a great, we're doing a great job. We don't want to be port dependent ever again, like we were, which my husband believes is why the Temu app exists. So let's just throw this out there. If any of you have ever been on Temu before, you know you can get more shit than you never wanted for next to nothing, and it all appears in this shrink-wrapped orange bag.
Every time I see that orange bag heading to the office, I know
but
who it's for.
Here's Steve's analysis is that, you know, when during COVID, all the ships were stuck out at port for miles and miles with all that crap on them that they just couldn't get off. He thinks Temu went and bought it all, and they're selling it. So get it while it's hot.
I want to know who their orange bag manufacturer is. I want a piece of that action.
Exactly.
Let me tell you.
So get it while it's hot because it's gonna sell out eventually.
And industrial, you mentioned that the Southwest now is becoming a big hub for industrial.
Right.
Traditionally, where has industrial been in Las Vegas, and where has it been growing recently other than in the Southwest?
We'd be remiss not to talk about Apex and not to talk about the growth and the transformation Apex has endured over the last 5 to 10 years. It probably started in motion about 10 years ago. But Apex is out on the north end of town, the North 15, right around the Speedway, if anybody knows where the Speedway is.
Right.
We also have
So
that.
also, how do I forget that?
I know.
Jeez.
And so Apex has grown by leaps and bounds, and like the technology that's in their newer developments and their buildings out there and everything is just, it's incredible. It's over the top. Apex is important because of transportation to and from Utah and those states, you know, on that side of the city. Now, with that being said, we've also done a lot of new construction and new developments in the industrial sector on the south end of town. And why is that so important? Because we have all these goods being shipped in from California. Truckers can't stay behind the wheel for more than 10 hours. They got to take a nap.
Right.
So when they were shipping in from that side of the state and having to go all the way through town to unload, get back on the road, they weren't able to make it back to their original destination, or I should say origination, in 10 hours.
Gotcha.
Now, just relocating industrial to the south end of town, they're able to do that. So we're saving time on the road, we're saving gas, we're saving wages.
Efficiency is up tremendously. Yeah.
All of it. You know what I mean? And, you know, we've talked about industrial in the Southwest Corridor before. It's a lot of consumable industrial, you know.
Right. How many warehouses? I lost count. How many warehouses has Amazon opened up out here?
I don't even know.
I mean, a minimum of 2 in there. How many square feet? 1 million?
Exactly.
I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, and here's the funny thing about industrial in Las Vegas, because you're thinking Las Vegas, you're thinking lights and action and glamour and gambling and drinking and, you know, honeymoon and all this other stuff.
I got to move to Vegas.
I know, right? It's where all the action's at.
And now I know why I live here.
But our industrial vacancy rate right now, it's been hovering between 3% and 4%.
Wow.
You know, and that's not the best as far as the nation is concerned.
Right.
You know, you've got some other markets and submarkets that are like at 1%.
1%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But 4% is not traditional. You know, we're running like no vacancy right now compared to what we're used to, compared to what's normal. I think we have about 2 million square feet of industrial slated right now. This is getting built. This is not where, you know, developers will pull the plug and decide not to do it. If we never leased or sold 1 square feet of the new industrial that's coming online, it would move the needle from 3 or 4% vacancy to 5 to 6% vacancy.
Holy cow. Amazing, huh?
I mean, you just don't think of Las Vegas as being an industrial town.
Hub, yeah, but it is.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. I mean, that number blew my mind.
Yeah.
Blew my mind.
And look, we're building it to meet the demand. It's not as if it's being built on spec, right? All this industrial space isn't built on a hope and a prayer. It's being built because we have big, and that's another thing about our town, our county of Clark County, Las Vegas. We get shit done, man.
Oh.
We get shit done. The politicians out here, we're pro-business. Everybody out here is pro-business.
Well, tell them about what's the board that you're on that you drugged me into, which thank you very much. I'm happy.
I drugged you into?
I'm actually happy to. I got to take my first oath ever.
She did, but you
week.
didn't do the whole state my name thing, which I did. Because
Pam Jungie, state your name. But that almost made me cry. I mean,
it's a cool feeling, right?
It was a big deal
because you're part
to defend my state, defend my country. Yeah. So help me God. I'm going to cry right now.
So as a member of the Clark County Business Development Advisory Council, which is a mouthful, that's what we do. We meet periodically to discuss what we can do to help small businesses in the city, to help them grow, to make sure that they're educated on what's available to them in terms of being able to get SBA lending, any type of financing, hiring employees, finding good employees. I mean, it's just this doesn't go on in other cities, man. It just doesn't happen. And if it does, it's boggled down. I grew up in New York City. You do stuff like this in New York City. There's a line of politicians a mile down the road looking for handouts. They want a piece of the action before anything gets passed, so it's for the betterment of the community. We don't do that.
I was absolutely impressed and I was shocked, but this 100% correlates to exactly what we're talking about right now. So it's basically your government officials and volunteers in the city who love our city and in some faction of industry around this city, making sure that business owners, large and small, know every perk, every dollar, that they can train their employees. Oh my gosh. One of the coolest things I heard in that meeting was how, I think it was Boxable reorganized the company. Boxable is, if you've not heard of Boxable, and their main plant is in North Las Vegas. So they're building and manufacturing right here. Boxable is basically tiny homes. They started with a contract with the government.
Correct. They were building homes for the government for military bases.
Exactly. Yeah. And it gets shipped to you. They figured out the shipping such that they don't have to do like oversized transit.
Correct.
And then basically, once it gets to its destination, it's literally a box. You open it, it flops open.
It's amazing.
You got your washer, your dryer, your refrigerator, everything. It's incredible. However, our county, through your organization, just helped Boxable because they had to reorganize the company. And what they realized when they reorganized the company is that a lot of their current employees didn't have the skill sets that were necessary to move into different positions or areas,
within the company, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So what did the county do? There's a program that's dedicated to retraining employees to save their jobs. In other words, is Boxable going to have to let go all of these employees so they can hire new employees with the skill sets? The county says, no, we will retrain them, or you can retrain them and we'll pay you to do it and retain them.
What other cities doing that? It's just, like I said, I can't, two words describe Vegas better than a pro-business. Is that two words? Is there a hyphen in there? I don't know. But we are about the most pro-business city in the United States of America.
It's fun. It's been fun to watch the growth. Selfish plug here. However, this city is growing by leaps and bounds. And like I was saying earlier, right out there at the Henderson private airport, they just laid 18 extra acres to support, or of runway to support the incoming traffic of people that are flying in just to see the Super Bowl, just to see Formula One, whose tickets I think are starting at $20,000.
Oh, it's crazy, man.
I mean, we're talking the elite of the wealthy, right? And they're coming to Vegas and dropping money here. However, so the Junkie Group has partnered with a developer, and we've got the exclusive listing on 5 acres right out there in that area next to the Henderson Private Airport.
And that's right by where the Las Vegas Raiders practice facility is too, right?
100%.
And it's right by a brand spanking new Amazon fulfillment center that's about 1 million square feet.
And a brand new housing community,
Right.
master plan housing community called Inspirata, which is just killing it. It's slaying it out there, right?
Over there,
So lots and lots going on there. However, we're partnering with a developer to build 29 smaller flex space units where people can utilize them from anything from parking your fancy car so that when you fly into the airport, your car or cars are right there to pick them up.
Okay.
They're all going to have incredible mezzanines overlooking the strip.
Wow.
So for business people coming into town that, would like to entertain meetings or anything of that nature, they have the mezzanine. However, you don't even have to use your own space to do that, because one of the great things about this facility is that it's going to be entirely gated, very private, and we have a 3,600 square foot clubhouse, very much that will operate like a WeWork.
I was about to say, it's like a we hybrid. I don't want to use the WW word, but it's like a hybrid WeWork industrial
much operate.
space.
Yeah, the clubhouse will very much. I don't even like calling it a clubhouse, but. It's going to have a kitchen and a bar. It's going to have conference rooms, meeting rooms, offices, so that when you are utilizing this space, and whether you're just a business owner who wants to run a business out of there, you can do that.
You can do that, right.
And you just go on your app and you reserve time in the clubhouse. For your conference room and your meetings and everything like that. And, obviously it's like all the little perks are already there.
Right.
The Wi-Fi, the water bottles, the kitchen. We're debating right now if we're going to stock it with liquor. I mean, I'm a yes. I'm a yes. So far, management has been that is not a great idea.
Maybe we'll ease off on a liquor bit.
I know, exactly. But it's crazy that there is a need, and we're probably going to be selling these units in the neighborhood of $332 a square foot.
Okay. And what do you think? Is it uniform as far as every unit being the same exact square footage?
Oh, no. We range from 1,800 square feet to, I think, 3,600 square feet. So
who do you think is going to be? I mean, I know you've talked about it broadly, but who do you think is going to be the type of business that's going to want to...
Listen, we've only got 29 of them, and my interest list, I've already got 100 people on the interest list, so I can actually tell you who they are.
Gotcha, okay.
So they are from, like I said, the very elite wealthy who just need a great place to secure and park their vehicles. I've got this funky little doctor. I love him. He's retired. He has 12 patents. And he just likes inventing things.
Wow.
So now he's found himself having to ship things every once in a while. And he's tired of paying a landlord for a space across the street. He's very wealthy. I think it's kind of like a little hobby for him. He likes the idea of owning his own real estate. We talked about that earlier. Yep. He likes the idea of owning his own real estate, having a nice place to go to. And for him, it's a matter of he wants to be in the crowd. He wants the exclusivity
get out
of it.
there, exactly right. It's like a little country club type of thing, right?
Yeah, the exclusivity of it is very attractive to him, and then he gets the bonus of being able to, do his packaging and stuff there. We do have some small business owners that actually are looking for satellite offices because they service some of the facilities you were talking about that are very close by. They service the Raiders practice facility, the Silver Knights facility, those types of businesses. Okay. So it's a great place to be a hub if you're a vendor in any of those larger...
And as you mentioned, conveniently right by the airport, right off the 215. I mean, and it's close to McCarran. Oh, wait, did we just change the name of McCarran Airport?
Harry Reid
Airport. It's right by there as well.
Yeah. And then the only other thing that we should talk about, because we're talking about airport, we do a little rewind right here, is that the Ivanpah Airport is now coming back to life, right? So predictions are that we will run out of airport space. We will outgrow our existing international airport by the year 2030. So the city and the county have been looking at building another airport in Ivanpah, which is to the south of Las Vegas, probably for like the last 15 years. That conversation is 100% back on the table in a big way. Because there's really nowhere to expand our airport right there.
Yeah.
You know?
But just to touch again on the stack, what's the ETA? When do you think?
So we'll be breaking ground soon.
Okay.
And it's an 8-month build, and our contractors are really confident in that. So, you know, if we break ground in August, I'm going to do the fingers.
The whole thing already?
September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. I mean, you know, tax season next year.
It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be amazing.
Yeah,
Are you kidding
it really
me?
Is.
It's kind of a one of a kind. So there's
I was about to say, is there anything like it in town?
No, it's totally a one of a kind. But that's the type of clientele we're attracting to Las Vegas now.
I got you. Right.
You know, there's been other proven concepts around the nation. One of them is called the Toy Barn. You know, literally just a place to park your stuff.
Your really expensive vehicles in.
Mm-hmm. And people are paying a lot of money for them. So it's also another interesting thing too. Like, you know, you listen to the news and you pay attention to all the macroeconomics around you. Don't misjudge the amount of money and wealth that is out there waiting to get placed because it exists.
For sure.
You know? And I've been in the game for a really long time. So, you know, non-traditional markets excite me way more than traditional markets. I'm not saying I want to see the United States get hurt. I'm not saying I want to see people losing jobs and not being able to pay their mortgage payments. I'm just saying that it's a more exciting market because there's always opportunities.
Right. Volatility, uncertainty creates opportunities.
More,
for sure.
Yes. More wealth is made in a down market if you're smart.
For sure.
So I know a lot of brokers and agents out there are a little nervous about what's to come down the pipeline. But listen, you got this.
Yeah, for
Focus.
sure. Focus.
Yeah. Focus.
It's always, you know, and it's like when we have our team meetings, which I always say to the younger folks on the team, it's always something. It's always going to be something. So you just got to block it out and you got to move forward. You got to stick with your game plan. You got to be happy. You got to be healthy. You got to stay on top of things. You got to be knowledgeable. You got to be educated. You got to get out there. You got to speak to people every day. But it's always going to be something.
Every day. Somebody's transacting.
Yep.
Somebody is transacting.
100%. Right?
Yep. All right. Killed it,
All
Johnny.
right. No doubt.
Oh,
now,
do you have a bad dad joke?
Of course I have. Well, it's not a bad. I have. So a tradition is to end our podcast with a really bad, truly tasteless joke, of which I have a encyclopedic memory and library of. So here goes. I'm not sure if I ever told you this one before, but yeah, bear with me. So guy walks into a bar, walks into a saloon, sits down at the bar, pulls a little 12-inch man out of his pocket, puts him on the bar, takes out a little mini piano, slaps it down on the bar. Little 12-inch guy starts playing the piano like it's like mind-blowing, unbelievable. This guy's playing Mozart. He's playing everything. The bartender is going nuts. He goes, holy cow, where'd you get that thing? Guy says there's a genie out front right now. He's giving one wish to everybody. But you better get out there soon because he told me he's going to be leaving. Bartender runs out the front door. A couple of minutes later, the front door of the saloon opens up, and there's tons of ducks walking in through the door. Tons of them, all over the place. The guy asked the bartender, what's going on? Bartender tells the guy, that genie, good guy, but he must be hard of hearing. I asked for $1 million. He gave me $1 million. Guy at the bar says, yeah, really? Do you think I honestly asked for a 12-inch pianist? And that is my truly tasteless joke for the podcast. Anyway, it was great having you.
Yeah, you too.
And we love it here. This is Level 9 Studios, located at 4087 D. Martin Drive.
Definitely
owned by
stepped
Scott.
our game up.
This place is just amazing, man. If you're looking to do a podcast, I can't.
Come in. Super friendly, super cool. The setup's amazing. You literally just reserve it, walk in, and they take care of you.
Everything is done, right? We have to yeah, it's a good place. It's a white glove service for a podcast. So thank you, Level 9, for hosting us and allowing us to use your facility. And we will catch you guys next time.
Until next time.
I'm Johnny Matucci.
Pam Jungie.
And we are with eXp
Peace.
Commercial.